Oh, we've got a few minutes before we start here, so I thought I'd just chat with you a little bit, and that'll give my clock a good time to ding a little bit, and you can hear that. I'm in Flagstaff uh, this week, and we came up. Oh, my dog and I have a big 100-pound lab, and she's as sweet as could be. I came up 5 days ago, and we woke up in the morning to about 3 inches of snow, and she loved it, went out and played. And then 4 days later, today it's 70 degrees here and nice and warm. Arizona is the land of extremes. In 2 hours, I can drive down to the valley where, I've spent most of my life. And today is supposed to be 94 degrees down in Tempe. So weather is extreme in the desert and in the mountains. Flagstaff is at 7,000 feet, and this year we got nearly 100 inches of snow. So people are sometimes surprised that Flagstaff is in the top five of cities for snowfall. So it's surprising, because many people just think of the cactus and the heat, but there's a lot more to it than that. It's been a while since I've seen you and had a chance to visit with you all. And you asked some good questions, and you get on early, and I sure appreciate the chance to, this is nice for me. I get a chance to dialogue with you, even though it's not two-way. I get a feeling from your questions where you are and what you're doing, and really enjoy the experience. So thank you all for participating, and thank you all for being a part of this. And I thank Gopher for giving me the opportunity to do it. So with that, it looks like it's 3 o'clock, and it's time that we probably should roll and get on with it. So I'm going to assume and say hello to all of you if you're just checking in. I assume most of you had your spring break and you're preparing for the stretch run. A lot has happened since our last huddle on finding funding. I do hope that our speakers that we had at the last huddle motivated some of you to make a move to get more equipment and supplies that you all so richly deserve. During the last month, the National SHAPE Convention convened in Cleveland, and many teachers shared their ideas with their peers. And as I often say, if you want to learn to be a great teacher, pick out the great ones. Try to find them and then hang around with them as much as you can and listen to what they have to say. There's a lot of wisdom out there. And finally, I never let it pass that thanks for all you do as teachers. You work so hard, and it's great to connect. The PE Huddle is sponsored and supported by Gopher, as most of you know by now, the leader in quality PE athletics and fitness equipment. Gopher uploads this PE Huddle to their professional development website. So if you want to share it with others, be sure and let them know about it. Encourage them to access it at pd.gophersport.com. When you register on the website, you can get a certificate that is customized with your name and date so that you can use it for continuing education credit. We all want to be the teacher that students remember. And today, Michael Ewan and I are going to talk about personal attitudes towards teaching and share with you a number of resources that are available to increase your instructional effectiveness. We presented our ideas and information at the SHAPE National Convention last month, and we received a lot of requests to offer it on the PE Huddle. So we thought, well, let's do it. So let's get started, and let me introduce Michael Ewan to you.
Morning, everyone.
Michael, Attaway, yes, Michael Giveaway. If you don't know it by now, the man behind the scenes that presses all the right buttons and makes my job easy, he said today all you have to do is just slide your screen and share your slides. And I said, that's plenty for me because I'm always thinking, talking about, and then sure as the dickens, if I have to do something else, I'll forget where I was. So, Michael, welcome aboard. If you haven't met Michael before, he's the assistant marketing manager at Gopher Sport. He has spent the last 10 years developing educational resources for the PE community, and he's worked closely with me on Dynamic PE, ASAP, the PE Huddle, and the new master PE teacher course. I feel like, we walk arm in arm. Michael's drive to support teachers is unparalleled, and he towards this end. Personal note here. We all need someone to nudge us towards new approaches and techniques. And Michael has been that person for me. I sincerely appreciate his support, candidness, and friendship. And Michael, thanks so much for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me, Bob, and likewise, I've I've learned so much from you over the years, and we've done some really good stuff together. So it's definitely been mutual.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Well, here's a plan for today. I'm going to lead off discussing how our personal qualities and beliefs, in other words, who we are as teachers and what we, uh, uh, you know, share with others has such a huge impact on the students we teach. And Michael and I will run through this, and then he'll walk you through a short demo of the new Master PE Teacher course that he was very instrumental. I mean, a giant nudge from Michael on that. I probably wouldn't have done that without his encouragement. And then we'll finish up by sharing the resources that are available for all of you on the Dynamic PE ASAP website. And there's no cost, no commitment on your part. It's my give back and Gopher's support of teachers that has made it possible. And it's a tremendous resource, I think, for all of you to use when you find it worthwhile to use. So today we're going to talk about being the teacher your students remember, and we all want to be that. That's important to all of us. And so I think when you go in and teach, you take a toolbox with you, and in that toolbox is one portion of it beliefs about teaching. And the other part is your knowledge, your curriculum, your signs, your routines, everything you use. And that's certainly important. And you need to have that. I will say this. Most teachers I know have plenty of knowledge and about what they should teach and that sort of thing, but they may not have organized it in a way in which it's most beneficial. Where sometimes they come up short is in the toolbox of attitudes and beliefs about teaching. And most teachers, when they run into a problem with administrators, et cetera, it isn't because, or they get low evaluations, it isn't because they don't know enough about content of their profession, but rather it's about the fact that maybe their attitudes aren't good, maybe they can't manage kids, maybe they are somewhat negative or maybe somewhat critical of students, and those are the things that sometimes run into problems. So let's talk about the toolbox of attitudes and beliefs about teaching. The areas where I'm going to work are making a difference, being a hero, being courageous, being a change agent, and bringing hope to all. So let me start with you have to believe deep in your soul, as deep as it goes, that you make a difference. That when you walk into that school in the morning, you're going to make a difference to the students that come and see you. Um, Helen Keller, I always, when I wonder if I make a difference, I think of someone who had all the disabilities she had, but she said, I'm only one, but still I'm one. And I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And I will not refuse to do the something I can do. You can't do everything, and you probably can't save every student, but you can still do the best you can and do something every day to help your students in a way in which it's important. So you need to believe, even though sometimes the wear and tear on you gets in the way of it, you do make a huge difference. And every one of you out there teaching are so important to the people you teach and so important to the parents of those children, because teacher parents are giving you their most precious commodity. I mean, they'll fight to the last straw to protect their child, and they're turning over the most precious commodity they have to you with the hope that you can help their child. Your beliefs about teaching are huge, and you need to offer a teaching environment where it's a safe environment, where rules, consequences, and class management strategies help every youngster feel safe. The strong, the weak, the sad, the happy, every youngster in there should feel safe and feel like they are a part and can be a part of it. And then you have to believe that how you teach is as important and as what you teach. And I got to be honest with you, I believe that how you teach is important as what you teach, and probably more so. I think when students remember you and you're the teacher they look back on school and remember, it's because of how you taught and handled them. And then you need to be an active and healthy teacher who moves and participates. Oh, I don't expect you as you age to, be as active as a kindergartner or a fourth grader or a high schooler. I don't expect that, but I do expect that you will be involved in your classes and share your energy and in your enthusiasm for what you do. I think it takes great courage to be a teacher because anytime you're trying to make people be better, they are resistant. I don't know any human being who, when you ask them to change, doesn't give you a certain amount of pushback. It's just there, and you have to be courageous enough to know that you're going to fight your way through that pushback and help them become better. And that takes courage. And sometimes it takes courage to tell a parent, your youngster isn't who he or she thinks they are. And here's how I can help you. Or an administrator. But not everything, I love this saying, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can ever be changed unless you face it. And so you have to be strong and courageous as a teacher to be a teacher that really matters. You are a change agent. There's just no way around that. If you aren't a change agent, then you're not a teacher. I used to say to my college students over and over and over, those who were becoming teachers, I said, if you folks, you walked in that door into my class and you listened to me for 55 minutes, and then you walk out the door and you don't think differently or ponder certain things I said or have a change in an attitude, then I haven't taught you a thing. If you walk in and walk out the same without any emotional commitment to what was said, then you haven't been a teacher. So your task is to help students become the best they can be. And, I also accept that behavior that's productive or unacceptable is learned. And it's my job as a change agent to increase positive behavior and decrease the unacceptable behavior, the off-task behavior. It is my job to shape those students. And I teach attitudes to kids by correcting, teaching, and reinforcing student behavior. That's what you do. So when you think sometimes, wow, I feel like I'm correcting a lot of behavior. Well, if that's what you feel, then keep correcting it, but give a whole lot more positive reinforcement as well, and it won't feel that way. Sometimes you are coming off on the negative side, and it's important that you have both in the mix and that you're reinforcing the good things you see, because to be honest with you, the vast majority of things you see in your class are positive. And those are the things you want to build on. But don't feel like you're a negative person or a bad person because you're always correcting. Fuel the fire of hope. Man, life isn't worth living if there's no hope. In fact, a clear sign of depression is when you look at life and say there is no hope. Doesn't matter if I go on or not. I don't care. There's nothing to live for. Hope is the fire of life. Hope is what keeps you going. I use hope as an acronym because it reminds me that my job as a teacher is to be helpful, to be optimistic, to give kids a feeling they can become more, that they can do it, that yes, you can, and I'll help you get there. that you bring out their potential, that you make them be the most they can be, and that you treat them all with equity and that give them all equal opportunities to succeed. I think those things are huge. And HOPE is a good acronym to remind yourself of what you want to be doing as a teacher. I think those are terribly important things. And so, you know, parents are giving you their child, and you have to help them. Let's be honest. Parents send their kids to school with the hope that their kids will leave school being better off and being able to accomplish more than they did in life. That's what it's all about. We want our kids to do better. I've never heard a parent say to me, you know, I hope my youngster doesn't surpass what I've accomplished. I want him to do less than what I do. That's not what parents hope for. You want your kids to have every opportunity and to learn as much as possible and to succeed. And, you know, that's the beauty of us as teachers. That's what we do every day. We're so doggone important. It's unbelievable in what you do for kids. And don't ever become a cynic, please. Don't start talking about the thing. It doesn't matter if I'm here today or nobody misses me or kids today aren't this and that. You got to hope and believe that all your students will be productive and important members of society. Except that some kids need you more than others. You know, you all know we don't treat all kids the same. It's just not possible. Some kids take a whole lot more attention than others. And once in a while, I hear teachers say, well, you know, the average kids, the kids in the middle, they don't get much attention at all because, you know, the super kids are up here, they're doing well. And, you know, the below average kids, they need a lot more help and that sort of thing. You know, the more you can look through the glasses of equality and equity, the better. The more that you can realize that I'm going to try to get them all on the same plane, and it may take a little more work with some than others, the better off you are. Because, you know, those many of those kids without adequate family support, you're their only hope. You tell me where they're going to get any other support and help if they don't get it from you. I'll talk a little more about that in a minute or two. And you know, you have to have empathy and understanding for all your students and all their behavior. And you know, we never have enough understanding in us. It is so hard as a teacher because we see so many students, and you know, we get worn down by the end of the day of hearing the same things or seeing the same off-task behavior, you know, a number of times throughout the day. But boy, you know, we all need to pray for understanding, because the more understanding we have, the more we can connect with our students. And you know, you've heard the saying, I say it over and over, students learn to be somebody by being around somebody who is somebody. You are the somebody that they need to learn from, and you are the person they emulate and admire, particularly if you're someone to admire. So, you know, be the somebody in their life, because it's so important. You know, I read a study a number of years ago that the average amount of quality time that parents spend with their kids in a school in a 24-hour day is 10 to 15 minutes. That's in the best of families. And quality time is, you know, when you're sitting down and you're listening to your youngsters and talking to them and sharing dialogue. It's not, you know, go outside and play, go clean up your bedroom, go do your homework. What'd you learn today? Nothing. And then the conversation stops. But it's rather initiating conversation. It says, you know, tell me a little bit about what happened at school today. I bet it was a fun day. And, you know, you're going to get some kind of emotion out of that. When you dig into the emotional bank, you're connecting with your student. But, you know, parents only get 10 to 15 minutes of that quality time. A teacher is with those kids all the time. And so you are the somebody in their life. I always use this because a lot of times when I'm around teachers and I'm doing a workshop or talking to a bunch of them, they immediately say, well, you know, kids aren't today like they used to be, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I know there's social differences. And I know we have social media and we still have all that. But you know what? I still go out to the schools and I still walk into a kindergarten class. And when I do, I see these 5 year olds acting like 5 year olds, the same way they did when I started my career over 50 years ago. And so you tell me who's changed the most, a 5 year old kindergartner that you're teaching, or an aging teacher like myself who might have a tendency to say, well, kids today aren't like they used to be. No, you know what? It's the teachers who get crankier, tired of listening to things, thinking that kids aren't what they used to be. It's us. We have to work on ourselves because we're the ones who have changed the most. There's a whole lot of difference between a first year teacher and a 10-year teacher. There's a whole lot of difference between a 10-year teacher and a 30-year teacher. And so it's not so much that kids are changing. You get those kindergartners, they're still running around there and having fun and, not listening, no clue, falling down, have no idea, what's going on. And that you shape up ultimately. It's a miracle when you pull a kindergarten class together mid-year. So it's us. And realize that you are changing every year. You're getting older and different. I really believe you hold the future of our country. Remember the kids you're teaching now that might be 10 years old, 20, 30 years from now, they're going to be adults. And they're going to be 30 to 40-year-olds. And they're going to be out there and they're going to be remembering how they were handled in school, what they learned in school, attitudes of acceptance, attitudes of concern for others, attitudes of respect and caring. Those are all things they're going to take with them. And that's what we teach. And, I always say, if we don't teach it and we don't see it as important, who will? Because take a look at this. You look at the police, well, all they do is they monitor and punish behavior when it's off task. That's their job. That's what we expect them to do. They have to get out there and stop misbehavior when it occurs. But their job isn't on the corrective side nearly as much. Counselors and after school organizations, they're valuable, but they don't have that much contact time with kids and not in-depth times. And parents, as I said to you earlier, they only get a little bit of time with their kids. Both parents are working and the kids come home and then they go to sports and the rigor of that life. But teachers, you have kids all day long and you have a lot of opportunities to share with kids and share attitudes and mold behavior. And the kids you're teaching today are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And so I really believe that you teachers are so important. You count. You are important. You do make a difference. And don't ever forget that, please. If you're going to be a great teacher, you have to have the passion to excel. Being a great teacher occurs not because of external affairs. In fact, there were all kinds of studies done, and they've done them over and over. There's tons of them if you go out and look at them, where they paid teachers more, where they did different things to motivate teachers, where they had all kinds of merit issues and everything. The great teachers weren't motivated by all that. They were great because internally in their heart, in their soul, they wanted to be great. They wanted to be the best they could be. And all these external things didn't make a difference. Now, look, I'm not saying that teachers shouldn't be paid. You should be paid 1,000 times more than you're paid. You're grossly underpaid if you were to ask me. But great teachers excel not because of the money, because you wouldn't have gone into this profession, but because of what's in your heart. You're a caring person and you care for others. Be grateful for the privilege of teaching. Again, as I told you, you're taking the most valuable resource that our society has, children, and you're molding them to be better people. And you should be grateful that our society trusts you with that tremendous challenge, that tremendous pressure. So thank you for that. You must always be sensitive to the feelings of students. It's very easy when you have taught a number of years to become numb to the feelings of students, that you don't realize the impact of some of the things you say to students. I heard a good story the other day from my wife, who is the supervisor of PE, as many of you know, in Mesa. And she was talking to a principal. And this principal said, when I was in elementary school, Mr. So-and-so was my teacher. And by the way, he's retiring this year. And he was telling us when we come into the gym, don't grab the climbing ropes. And of course, I ran into the gym, grabbed the climbing rope, and I was disciplined and had to sit out of PE for a time because of that. And this principal was saying, I never forgot this teacher. I loved him. But, to this day, when I go into the gym, I never touch those climbing ropes because I know it's not time to touch them. So, here's a principle. 30 years later, it made a huge impact on them. So don't forget, don't be insensitive about the things you say to others. It can crush them, it can build them up. And we need to always be, and then, of course, always have enthusiasm for your students in your profession. There's nothing more important than being a great teacher. And, I really appreciate all that you do. So with that, Michael, I'm going to turn that over to you and let you talk a bit about the Master PE program.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Bob, for passing along to me. First, I'm going to leave this slide up here. We're going to talk about the Master PE Teacher Program. And if you guys want to follow along at home, you can visit this URL, pd.gophersport.com. Or there's a QR code there if you want to scan it with your phone. I'll just leave it up there for just a couple more seconds here, and then I'll dive into talking a little bit more about the course. But really, so all of this kind of transpired about a year ago. We were at Shape National, and we kind of sat down with Bob, and we were like, Bob, Dr. Pangrazi, there's a lot of people. You've made an impact on a lot of professionals in the industry, and a lot of PE teachers really value what you've contributed. And we want to try to figure out a way that we can kind of capture that on video, whether it's through a video series or webinars. We've done a lot of these PE huddles, but we really wanted to come up with something that was going to be a well thought out, organized course that we could share with teachers. So we challenged Bob to come up with something, and he kind of went back and pondered on it for a little bit, trying to figure out what exactly this was going to look like. And he really hit it out of the park with this Master PE Teacher series. It's an 18 module course that covers everything from the impact PE has on students, managing and organizing lessons, and a lot of class management stuff. How do you organize your students? How do you discipline your students? How do you make sure that you're increasing acceptable behavior but limiting that unacceptable behavior? So I'll give you here's a quick preview of the video. This is just a short 2-minute video that we're going to play, and then I'll come back and I'll walk through the course a little bit more with you. So here's the video.
Hello, I'm Bob Pangrazi. Freeze! I'm not teaching anything till I get them freezing and being with me. Eyes are huge when you're working with a class. Longtime professor from Arizona State University, and I'm the author of Dynamic Physical Education for Elementary School Children. I want to divide my class in half, and I want to do that quickly. So the first thing I do is get them in partners. Then I have one partner raise their hand, please. If your hand is raised, will you whip it over here to this line, please, and stand facing that direction? If not, will you jog over to that line? That's a way to hustle. I don't see any walkers. I love it. After all these years of teaching, I wanted to share it with you. And I've put it all together in a video series, and we have a large variety of topics that are going to make you a better teacher in a short time. You are the fabric of our society. Don't allow kids to be outliers. I talk about management as moving students, and equipment. Lesson plan releases you to go out and focus on the performance of your kids. I think you'll find it enjoyable, and I think you'll walk away from it a much better teacher than when you walked in.
All right, so that was the essentially, yeah, that was our promotional video that we put together, our preview video. And I wanted to give some insight here into what the course is and what it looks like. So it's available on our professional development website, which is once again pd.gophersport.com. And this is also where all of our free webinars are hosted as well. So any archived webinar of the PE huddle that you've seen in the past, it's available on this website. There's also some older webinars that we've had through our Gopher webinar series that we did a few years back. And then we've also got some live webinars as well, ones that we've actually recorded in person. Maybe it was at a conference or at the national conference, and we recorded them in person and put them on this website. So there's a lot of different opportunities to get professional development or continuing education credit on this website. But specifically, this Unleash the Best Teacher in You is our Master PE Teacher series. So I'm going to click on that. And then once again, so here's the course. You're able to watch the promo video again. And it just shares a little bit more about what the course includes. Transform your PE program, class management, positive student behavior, strategically lesson plan. It's 6 hours of recorded video of Dr. Robert Pangrazi. There's some in-teacher videos, some demonstration videos included in there. There's PowerPoints are included, session notes are included, but really includes everything that you need to kind of take this course and run with it essentially. Here's some more information about Dr. Pangrazi. And then here's the module details if you're looking to figure out exactly what's included in this course. The first module is available for free if you want to preview it. Otherwise, there are 4 different kind of purchasing options. So you could get an individual membership or an individual license, or you could get a small group license, which would be a set of 5. A large group license is a set of 10. And then a district license would be a set of 25. If you're interested in getting more than 25 licenses, if you're at a very large district, we can work with you and figure out some custom pricing there. But for each, for the more licenses you get, there's discounts provided with it. So there's bulk pricing. So going back, I'll share my screen. I'll kind of show you a demo of what the course looks like. So this is our course page right here. And as I mentioned, 18 different modules. Each module includes reflection questions that if I just click Start Reflection Questions, go in here and then enter in the reflection questions. And then at the end of each section, you can download a custom certificate of continuing education credit. So as I mentioned, 6 hours of content. There's also 6 hours of continuing ed credit that you could essentially print out, hand into your principal or administration. But after you complete all 4 modules in each section, there's going to be a button here that allows you to download the custom certificate, and then you can print it off, and it's yours. And another thing to mention about this course is it's a lifetime access to this course. So if you do buy an individual license or a group license, that's yours forever. That if you watch the course and then you want to come back a year, 5, 10 years from now, you're still going to have access to it as long as you have your account within the professional development website here. So it's going to be attached with your account on here. So you'll always have access to it as long as you've got that account up. So that's all I have. Bob, did I miss anything?
No, you did a good job on it. I think at the end of our presentation, you might even show a little willingness to give away a license, huh?
That's right. Yeah, we'll give away one free license to one of our attendees here
Oh, well, good. Stick with us to the end then.
for sure. And once again, just quick reminder: if you want to learn more about the course, it's pd.gophersport.com, and then just click on the Master PE Teacher. I'll share my screen one more time. Click on the Master PE Teacher button up here uh, to learn more about the course. All right, Bob, that's all I have. I'll kick it back off to you, and you can kind of conclude the webinar here.
Okay, great job. Thank you, Michael. Well, I talked, about the emotional toolbox, but the other side of your toolbox is the instructional one. And that there's a lot here. You need a curriculum, you need lesson plans, you've got to have the richer you can make it, the more impressed. When a principal comes in and sees your curriculum and lesson plans, sees your instructional and teaching signs, sees your formative assessments, realizes you're using videos, it really turns them on. And a big part of getting financial support, like we talked in our last huddle, is being able to impress your administrator that you're doing a lot of things that make a difference. And so, one of the things we wanted to do was to get you some materials that would help you to step out of your comfort zone, because oftentimes we know teachers, and teachers that have taught the same thing for 20 years, and guess what, they're bored and they say teaching's not exciting anymore. Well, no, I guess if you do the same thing over and over for 20 years, I guess it's like eating spaghetti every night for 20 years. It'd get old after a while. So, you need to, and the problem is the more times you teach something, the less willing you are to change. And so the longer you teach, you've taught it over and over, so it's easy, and you come to school late, just teach this. Well, we're trying to help and offer things at no charge. And then finally, any kind of change you make, whether it's equipment, whether it's a new unit, is a strong motivator for kids. In fact, it's a strong motivator for adults as well. I mean, what do you think would happen to a fitness club that just did the same thing year after year after year and never offered any new experiences? These fitness clubs today are very dynamic. They're changing all the time, and people go to different clubs to get different things because they want something new. So novelty is important for your students. Don't ever forget new experiences refurbish and refresh the desire to want to learn. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to give, many of you know, if you've been around some of my materials for a number of years. A while back, I had a lesson plan book as well. And I said, I said to Gopher, I'd like to, give back to the profession. The lesson plans, I got royalties from them and that sort of thing. And I said, I'd like to give back to the profession, but I'd need some help to do it. Well, Gopher, not only gave help, they gave financial support, they gave Michael. I mean, there's so many things that they have done to support this. But I think dynamic PE ASAP can be used as a great starting point for doing anything, whether it's creating or enhancing your curriculum, looking for a new unit, getting some signs to make your teaching look richer. And it's very flexible and is broad in scope and easy to use. And so, if you know where you're going and what you're going to do, you've got a curriculum. And I think that's important stuff. Let me reiterate that it's free. A lot of times people think they have to make some kind of commitment. All you have to do to use Dynamic PE is get an email address and put it in there and get your own password, and you're in. I mean, there's nothing more to it. It's free, and you can use everything that's in there, and it's easy to adapt to your school. It's evidence-based with over 50 years of testing and implementation. I started the program over 50 years ago in the Mesa, Arizona school district, and it's still going 50 years later, and it's been field tested over and over and over. So let me just say a couple of things. You can find it at dynamicpeasap.com. I know many of you that listen to the huddle have certainly found it and used it, and we get a lot of hits. So I know there's a lot of people who have found it, but if you haven't, and you haven't at least taken a look, there it is. There's 4 separate and unique curriculums, the PK through 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 7, 12. And there's over 500 units and activities that you can choose from. There's 120 lesson plans that can be modified and used. All kinds of video clips showing nationally recognized teachers. These are teachers of the year. These are, the best of the best, showing you and demonstrating management and instructional techniques and skill development, etc. There's more than 200 teaching signs and instructional aids. I'm going to show you just an example that you can just download and print out. And, my wife, they print them out and they put them in the Gopher cones with the folder that'll hold the sheets on top of the cones. And they just slip them in there and they can move those in and out easily. And then there's 120 formative assessments that are in the lessons, and you can pick any of those and use. So if you were to open up Dynamic PE ASAP, you'd see, well, here's a hockey lesson, and there's if you notice there's looks like a start button below the clipboard, and that's where there's a hockey video. I know, Michael, do you have a hockey video queued up just to show them what a video would look like?
Toe to toe. Oh, nice. Way to hustle to the center to find a partner. Good hustle, Manny. Excellent. Could I have one partner quickly sit down, please? Awesome. When I say the word go, I would like the standing person. You're going to hustle over, and very carefully, you're going to get a hockey stick. Remember, we keep the blade where? On the ice. Keep it on the ice. While your partner's getting a hockey stick, sitting person, you're going to get a ball. After they get their stick, then you can go get your hockey stick. That way we don't have everyone going over there. And then you're going to be about the distance that I am from Abraham. We're going to practice that quick hit and that front field, which means stopping that ball before you pass it. Go. Oh, way to hustle over, Jose. Nice hustling, Manny. Way to hustle out quickly. Looking for those first groups that are passing and fielding. I have Jose passing and fielding already. Braulio and Abraham. Maeli, way to hustle, Jose.
So you saw a master teacher there with a hockey lesson, and then it goes on to show you the drills and skills he's using later. But if you want some ideas about how to teach a hockey lesson, the video's right there. You can also print out lesson cards of the hockey lesson. You see here the green cards are the hockey skills. The purple color is the introductory activity. The blue is the fitness, so you can easily identify them. And orange is a game, and they're coded like that. And you can print them out in 5x8 format, or if you prefer 8.5x11, or if you prefer, you can put them on your iPad, or if you prefer, you can put them on your phone. So there's a lot of flexibility to walk out there with a lesson plan, and when your administrator walks in, say, hey, look at this. So, it just helps you know where you're going and what you're doing. You saw an instructional video. There's 150 of them. If you are picking out parts of lessons, which, by the way, you can slide them around and find what you want, but you see, again, the play button there. And this is change sides, which would be a closing activity, a game activity for the little people. And here they are, they're ready. We're not going to run this one live, but then you could go to this video and see how that game's played and watch this teacher having a good time with it, and it would help you. There are all kinds of station teaching signs. So if you were teaching that hockey lesson, here's an example of just 3 of them. There's more than 3, but I just wanted to put up 3 where you can see them. So maybe you have a station over here where they dribble around cones, and then you have a net where at the next station where they do 2-on-2, no goalie, and then you move over to passing and fielding with a partner, and you can print all these signs out and have them at stations, all set up ahead of time. For your fitness, this is an example of circuit training signs, and you can have these set up at different stations and pick and choose the signs you want, and they're illustrated there. And this is just how they look. I mean, Gopher has done a great job, and I must give due credit here. My wife, I always say I married my wife because she was a great sign maker and I wasn't, but she really has done a masterful thing with signs. And then Gopher took them and put them in a more, they used computers and everything to get them into this format. But these are all Deb's brainchilds, and she deserves a lot of credit for what she's done here. Again, instructional aids. If you were teaching a pedometer unit, here's some signs that we could have out where they go to one and learn how to place their pedometer on and check it out to see if it's accurate, doing the 30-step approach. Walking or jogging, finding out which one takes more steps to cover a distance. Rechecking the accuracy of your pedometer, understanding individual differences, and there's all kinds of these instructional signs to help you with that as well. And then, of course, a lot of formative assessment instruments. There's 6 different types, and there's rubrics, there's bike rack activities, peer assessment, and written exit slips. As they go out, they touch the activity they think is correct. So there's a lot of different things that you can use here. And I'll say it again, they're all free. They're all right there for the taking to make your environment richer and give you much more feedback about how your students are doing, whether they're understanding. And that's one of the bugaboos oftentimes with administrators, is that their classroom teachers are held up for and expected to assess all the time. And then they think, well, PE never does. Well, we have ways of doing formative assessment with skills. And if we tell our administrators that our type of assessment is different than what you do in the classroom, they're okay with that. But you need to explain it to them. So as I bring this to a close, Michael, are there any things you would want to add there over dynamic PE ASAP, or anything that we've talked about?
No, Bob, you did a great job of covering everything. I think I just want to reiterate, it's all available for free at dynamicpeasap.com. Like you said earlier, all you have to do is create an account, and everything is available for you for free. All the signs can be downloaded, lesson plans can be created. As I think Bob mentioned, you can drag and drop certain lesson plans to customize your own curriculum. So it'd be a great thing at the start of the year, or even during the year, starting to build out your lesson plans and creating that yearly plan, that roadmap to success that Dr. Pangrazi talks about so much. It's a great tool that is completely free and available to you. And a huge kudos to Bob, Dr. Pangrazi, for giving away all of these lesson plans that were included in that dynamic physical education lesson plan book back in the day when it was still a printed copy. But now it's all available for free online.
Thank you, Michael. And and I'll say to all you teachers, a huge thank you to Gopher and Michael for what they do on that side of it, because they had the resources, they put the resources into it, and it's a big commitment on the part of Gopher, and I'm immensely appreciative and that we can share with you teachers. And it's one of the things I like about being a part of Gopher is that they care about teachers and they make a commitment to teachers. So hopefully we shared some things that you have there. And Michael, I'm I'll finish again. They may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And I think, Michael, you have a chance now to make someone feel pretty happy about maybe winning something, because teachers, if it's free, it's for me. What do you got over there, Michael?
Yeah, that's a good setup there, Bob. Well, yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to give away one free license to a teacher here on the webinar. Once again, it's to the Master PE Teacher course that we developed here with Dr. Pangrazi. And I'm going to randomly pick one of our attendees here, and it's going to be Amy Wolf is going to be our winner. So Amy, I'll email you after this webinar with some information on how to access the course. Once again, it's a free license, $49.95 value that will give you access at the end of this. So congratulations, Amy, and I'll keep an eye out in your inbox. You'll be hearing from me.
Well, many thanks to all of you for showing up. Thank you for being teachers. Michael, thanks so much. It was great having you on. You do so much behind the scenes, and people don't know who in the heck it is doing that. So now they know. So I'm so appreciative of all of you. It's the stretch run, isn't it? As we head into the end of the year, and that's a long stretch. But hang in there. You're appreciated. You do make a difference, and see you in a month. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.